I increased my family medicine practice from 20 patients per day to 80 patients per day. I've reduced my working hours from 55 hours a week to 35 hours a week. And I've increased my revenue 5 times without charting home. And it wasn't seamless. A lot of things broke on the way. The team communication failed. There was problem with physical space, with hiring. So it isn't one of the videos that I'm going to tell you how great it was for me. It's actually a video about what wasn't right and how I fixed it. So 6 years ago, I started with seeing 20 patients per day. And the setup was that I had 2 rooms, I had 1 secretary, I had nobody else helping me, and I was spending about 55 hours at work. And I was billing about $150,000 a year. With my staff cost and rent, about $50,000, I was just bringing home less than $100,000. And it felt like I was constantly behind. We had paper charts, electronic charts. It was all the juggle, all the endless miscommunication. The charts were missing. We had to put things in the computer, set up the EMR. And it felt like there was never really a moment that I was comfortably seeing patients. And how it felt, it was like I felt constantly behind. Patients were waiting 45 minutes to an hour for me. Appointments were long. I couldn't move the patients through the rooms because there were so many things to do. I had also paper charts. The inbox was always full. And it was just this feeling of never being done, never really relaxing, even if it was a day off. So I thought I was at my limit at the time. So at 20 patients per day, I felt maxed out. But really, what made me limited was my work design system and my workflow. Problem number 1, physical space. One of my earliest problems I encountered with my journey to growth was limitation by physical space. The first family practice I took over was located in an office with 2 rooms, and I continued there for a while. And 2 rooms limits you in patient transitions. And it turned out that if I hired my first nurse, I had to wait for her to be ready. And I waited about several minutes between each appointment so that I could see the patient. And that accumulated to a lot of delays. That got us to the limitation that we had, about 20 patients per day. The next thing we've done, we moved to an office that had 4 rooms, 4 patient rooms. And over there, we suddenly started to move a little faster. My nurse was preparing things quicker, but we were limited in about maybe 30, 40 people per day over there, until we moved to a building that had 7 rooms plus dedicated procedure rooms. And this created this complete comfort of having patients roomed, prepared by my nursing, and the patients waiting for me so I can move from room to room, always having 1 or 2 patients prepared for me. So I always am moving and always seeing patients without any pauses. The financial risk of this is that we went from $10,000 a year for rent to about $120,000 per rent. But at one point, if you operate on a high scale, your clinic design becomes your ceiling. Problem number 2, hiring preparation. At the beginning of my office work, I had 1 nurse working with me, and I realized how much I rely on her the moment she went for vacation. She tends to take vacation. She goes to New Brunswick, and that week made me realize that I can't support those numbers without my help. And the week that she was away, I was drowning. Patients were, again, hour and a half behind. Patients were upset, were complaining. We had to decrease the load of patients for the next few days and move them forward, because it opened my eyes to the fact how much I am reliant on my staff. And after that, I decided to hire more staff to be prepared, to have optionality. And the lesson I learned from that was that you have to be prepared for hiring ahead of time. I think it takes about 2 to 3 months before you need someone to have someone prepared and trained. So when you are hiring, when you are in desperate need for someone, when you're drowning, then you're already too late. Problem number 3, queue chaos. I have to be honest, at 50 plus patients per day, I lost visibility. Things were working in a 2-room office and a 4-room office. We used flags so that I know where to go next, and the nurses knew where to go next. But in the 7-room office, it stopped working. So this is when we built Dr. Flow. It allows us to shave off time from every appointment, about 30 to 60 minutes per day at 80 patients per day. It allows clarity. What do I do next? What's my next room, both for doctors and for the nurses? And it actually discovers doctors' capacity, because the invisible problems always become chaos at scale. Problem number 4, team handoff confusion. When we increased our patient volumes to 80, sometimes 100 patients per day, and we needed to coordinate myself with 3 nurses, what I encountered a lot was I was looking for my team. How do I tell them that I need blood pressure taken in room 3? How do I tell them I need paperwork? How do I tell them they need to come back in the room and take care of patients' prescription refills? And this is exactly where Dr. Flow works really good. You can get one-tap handoffs, requesting what you want, so you can keep on moving to the next room without any cognitive load or looking for anyone. Because every time you have more staff, you have more chaos. And the result is that you have smoother, more predictable days, less disruptions, and more patients seen per hour. The results. So what's changed before and after? So this is patients per day. So this is before, after. So there was 20, and now it's 80. So that's plus 60 patients. Hours per week, 55 versus 35. I reduced minus 20 hours. Gross revenue. $150,000, 1.1 million. Staff cost. So it's 50,000. This is 250,000. This is 950,000 plus. This is plus 200,000. Rent per year, it is 12,000 to 120,000, so that's around $100,000. Net income, this is $730,000. The difference is around 640,000 plus. So my additional investment was $300,000 on a plus, and my additional net income was 640,000. So this is not accidental. And we often think that hiring is risky, that increasing overhead will get me in trouble, that more rooms isn't profitable. Now the reality. I have invested $300,000 to get $640,000 back. The return on investment is 2.1. So for every dollar I spent, I got $2 back. But that's not all. I reduced my work hours from 55 hours to 35. I worked 20 hours less. I have increased my patient load. I've seen 60 more patients. And at the end, I have to say the biggest benefit is I've increased my work satisfaction. I like going to work. I enjoy working with my team. And that probably is the biggest win of all. So doctors typically don't have an income problem. They have a capacity problem and a leverage problem. They try to cut the cost, don't hire help, do everything on their own, squeeze more effort in the system that's already at the top of its capacity. And that's maybe linear growth. But the growth that will bring you best results is growth with leverage. So my advice would be invest in space, invest in your team, find out a way to create handoffs that are seamless. And scaling isn't without pain. You're going to encounter problems, but these problems have an end, and those problems can be redesigned. So if you are a doctor or a clinic manager, interested in how to increase your capacity, how to increase your efficiency, how to see more patients per hour, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel. I'll be posting new content all the time on what I'm testing, what I'm doing, and what I'm learning.